and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Now, I need to clear something up. So this New York Times faux pas with Matt's name and my picture, the confusion really started with, my name used to be Matt Goldstein. But I changed it for professional reasons, thinking my current name would serve me better in that. Gotta think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Look, I think I speak for all of us here tonight in saying that we're very proud to be associated with an institution that has meant so much to the cultural and intellectual fabric of our city. It's legendary that we all know that almost 1/3 of college-educated New Yorkers are CUNY graduates, and as Matt said, myself included. CUNY has produced more top corporate executives than any other university in the entire country. Your alumni run the gamut from, as you know, Jonas Salk to Colin Powell to Jerry Seinfeld, truly reflecting the diversity and dynamism of our city and our country. As one of your most illustrious graduates, someone close in our industry, the past chairman of Intel, Andy Grove, once said, CUNY is a veritable American dream machine. So as you heard, it's up to all of us here tonight to find ways to make sure we keep it that way. Obviously, we can all thank Chancellor Goldstein for leading one of the most successful capital campaigns ever by a public urban university, and in the process, broadening the base of support and putting CUNY on a more sustainable footing going forward. He's done a wonderful job of challenging all of us to become true partners in creating CUNY's future. Now, it's time for us to challenge ourselves once again to use this partnership for something that's even bigger than the future of this great university, and that's the future of our city and this great university. It's time to create a new economy for New York City. New York has always been a symbol of the boundless opportunities of America. Whether you're a student from the Midwest, a father from Africa, or just a kid from the Bronx, it's where people come to get a foothold on the American economic ladder. But if you look closely at the statistics over the past decade or so, you see that the base that's holding up that ladder has gotten way too narrow. According to the New York Department of Labor, the financial services and insurance industries accounted for 10% of the jobs in New York City, but a whopping 38% of all the income earned in the city in 2008. Just four industries, finance and insurance, professional services, health and social services, and retail, account for more than 3/4 of New York City's private sector payroll. Only about 3% of New Yorkers are employed in what we would call manufacturing. And estimates are that the main driver of New York's economy, financial services, has shed some 40,000 jobs since the start of this recent recession. The fact is, we've allowed ourselves to become far too dependent on one skill set, concentrated in one geography and one segment of the economy. And as a result, we haven't built a broad-based economy that can sustain middle-class jobs and stable neighborhoods, like the one I grew up in. In particular, we haven't done a very good job of creating the technology-driven jobs that are the main drivers of growth in the new economy. Some facts. The National Science Foundation ranks New York City at number 33 for the percentage of our workforce in science and engineering jobs. That's fewer than 4%. We also know that in middle school in New York City, 2 out of every 3 teachers that teach science or technology are not trained in science and technology. So not only does that put us behind leaders like San Jose, Durham, Boston, and San Francisco, but it also puts us behind cities like Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Minneapolis. Hard to believe. The Milken Institute puts New York City at number 9 on the list of high-tech centers. Again, far behind Seattle, DC, Los Angeles, and Dallas. On Deloitte's annual list of the 500 fastest growing companies in America, only 6 are in New York City, as compared with 88 in San Francisco, 50 in LA, and 41 in Boston. You getting fired up? Yeah. And for all of the world-class medical research conducted in New York City, only one biotech company in the city received venture capital funds last year, as opposed to more than 40 in Silicon Valley and more than 30 in Boston. So the fact is, without a homegrown base of science and engineering-based businesses, we will continue to lose our human capital and cede economic growth to other regions in the U.S. and around the world that have a more fertile culture for growing the base of future jobs. So why is this? Well, the usual reason that people give is that it's the high cost of living and the high cost of operation in New York City. Okay. But a new study by the Center for Urban and Future, the Center for Urban Future, suggests the reasons go much deeper. They point to underinvestment in engineering R&D in New York City institutions. They say we haven't focused on commercializing research or teaching our scientists how to be entrepreneurs. And they note that our universities haven't emerged as incubators of innovation as they have in other metropolitan areas. As someone who spent his whole life and virtually his whole career in and around New York City, I can say unequivocally that we used to know how to do this. And the good news is we have all the resources necessary to do it again. We need to go back to the future and reinvent our economy around technology-based growth. Under Chancellor Goldstein, CUNY has made a good start by investing in growth fields like photonics, biotech, and environmental science, creating an advanced science research center which will open in 2012. Kudos. And stepping up efforts to commercialize research. The business community, that's us, needs to do a much better job of helping to train scientists to be business leaders and teach the next generation of executives and entrepreneurs, as City is doing in the Leadership Academy that we're so proudly supporting. And I might add, we have the president of the Verizon Foundation, here, right here, Mr. Patrick Gaston. So therefore, any questions you have for me afterwards, you see Patrick. And we need to invest in creating the human and intellectual capital that can be the base for economic growth as we go forward. If we can add innovation to New York's natural assets, our natural assets of diversity, creativity, and drive, we can compete with anybody in the world and give our kids the same chance for success as their peers in Boston, San Francisco, Singapore, or Hong Kong. Great cities need great corporations and great universities. I agree with Matt. Let's pledge ourselves to using our partnership to rev up the dream machine for CUNY and jump-starting the economic engine for New York City. Thank you.